It looks like the bug has been fixed. We are in the game. We're going to be joining, once again, former champions and previous champions, Denial, going up against what seems to be a newer team. Math for the win actually isn't on there. It's Bart Yolo joining Xen of Onslaught.
Oh, it looks like we do have them swapped in here. So again, we're going to have Xen of Onslaught going up against the Titans, which is going to be Denial eSports EU. So they have a lot of work cut out for them. The question is, can they play this properly? So ISIS is going to ban off right at the bat. That's always a safe ban. No one ever wants to face off against the ISIS. We're going to see Fenrir banned out by Denial, and the second ban's going to come out soon. There's going to be Sobex. They don't want to give it away. They do have first pick, it looks like. No, second pick. So they will have that first pick going for Xen of Onslaught there. So you can kind of just waiting for, actually no, they do have first pick, apologies. Just kind of losing my mind here. So they will have that pick there. So the last ban coming out from Xen of Onslaught, the question is where they decided to go for it. Will it be a standard ban, or did they have something more particular in mind?
Well, he only has 6 seconds to choose. He's going to pick Poseidon, actually banning out 2 of the mid laners, and again, Denial for the second time today, taking out Fenrir. Still on the table,
like
Odin.
Dealing with it.
Odin's still on the table, Athena, Thor. I mean, there's still some pretty big picks, and it looks like they're stuck here. They don't want to give away Freya as well. I mean, and we know that Cuvo loves him. They are going to opt to pick up Athena instead of Odin first. Athena not really going for that niche pick. Hotbot's getting grabbed immediately. So again, Thor still on the table, and Odin. I think Odin's going to be our pick here.
Well, possibly. Actually, Bacchus and then Hunbot's getting picked up there for Xen of Onslaught. They want to have that solid roaming strategy. We haven't really seen Bacchus be too much of a staple today. Obviously, with the steals coming out, going to be powerful there. They swap over to the Apollo, which I kind of agree with. There's a lot of support tanks on the table right now, but they will have that available to them. Apollo is just such a strong pick. Hunbot is a strong pick. Since Athena's already stolen out there for Denial, they only have 1 more support that they can pick up, which most likely will be more of either a side lane solo support tank type thing, like an Odin or an Ymir. Ymir also fares well in the side lane. Hercules can do that as well. There's a lot of support tanks, but they want to get a solo. Although Athena can solo, they could go for a roam with that strategy. So there's a lot of options on the table. And for some people who are wondering what the general idea is for picking, is you never really want to lock your strategy in until later on. There's a troll Kronos throughout there just in the message. Of course, Kronos is banned for this tournament, so he cannot be played. Unfortunately, I'm sure that they're hurting because they want to see him. But so there's goes the Odin pick. Not really too surprised there. Then the Thor. So actually, they have a really strong first 3 picks for Denial.
I mean, these are 3 picks that you don't want to see on the same team, especially if Sobek is banned. They're going to be able to rain down Athena on top of that Odin ult against someone who can't jump out, so they have to make sure that people they're picking at this point have very strong movement abilities, or they are going to get blown up. So far they have Apollo and Hunbots, 2 great picks against a team like this, especially Apollo. I love the Apollo pick against Thor. Using that Mesmerize to stop for Circuit Barrage is going to shut down a lot of his damage. Going to go for Ra and Guan Yu here. I don't love the Ra pick. I mean, that puts him in a lot of danger getting stuck inside that Odin ult.
Does, and that's something that you'll see a lot of times if you see the Odin pick come out. You don't really want to pick any slow characters. And that's something we saw in 2 games ago. We saw Vamana pick up the Creeping Curse just because characters like Ra are very easily punished because they don't have the ability to clear large amount of distance. They have the slow, they have the heal, they have the damage, they have the speed, especially from the passive speed of light. But it's just not going to be enough to keep them out of the Odin ultimate. With the combination of the fact that Athena can jump in and out with her ultimate, Thor can jump in and out, can teleport in and out. Aphrodite is going to be holding it down. I mean, there's a strong pick lineup coming from Denial, and it seems to be a lot safer than the lineup you'll see coming out from Xen of Onslaught here. So Neith's going to be last pick up here, and that's going to help them roam around the map and get a lot of ganks off. But again, that's one of the main reasons why you pick up that Neith, especially with Athena. Athena, Thor, and Neith, they can come in and gank you without you even realizing it's going to happen.
All right, so they do grab Aphrodite here. Going to reprise his role once again. Restare using that Aphrodite to his advantage every single time that we've seen it. I don't think we've seen his Aphrodite lose yet.
Certainly haven't, and it's something that they play so perfectly. The last pickup's going to be Bacchus. They have Bacchus, Guan Yu, Apollo, Ra, and Hunbots, and I'm surprised to see that we didn't see Ymir.
We do not have a Ymir in this game. It looks like they're going to be using Athena for support, and then on the right side they're going to be using Bacchus for support. Ymir, usually one of the more prominent picks. I mean, that freeze is so reliable, whereas Belch of the Gods can be avoided or stopped before it actually stuns. But of course, the belly flop's still very, very strong. While it's not as strong as it used to be, being probably the best move in the game for close to 4 or 5 months, Bacchus has taken a little bit of a hit with the nerf to the belly flop.
He really has, and the travel time is so slow now that he doesn't really have that opportunity to jump in and be able to knock him up into the air and you know, kind of hold on to that CC engagement. Obviously, be able to animation cancel the belly flop and then go right into the Belch of the Gods to get the stun out as soon as possible. It's not as secured of an engagement you would see from Amir, especially with that wall. I mean, that wall is so clutch. With those side holes in the fire giant, you can wall that off really easily, keep people from zoning out, and a lot of times we'll be able to pick that up. But we're going to head to a timer here, guys. A 3-minute timer going to start up right on screen for you. So you go ahead and get up and get a snack, get a drink. But we're going to bring you the action just exactly 3 minutes. The game will be started here, and you're going to be watching the semifinal round between Denial eSports EU and Xen of Onslaught.
And stick around, guys. We'll be back in just 3 minutes.
Hey, everyone, welcome back to the semifinal round, Stage M. We are watching Xen of Onslaught up against the one, the only Denial eSports, the victors of last week, of course. We saw both Denial teams win last week.
There's 2 Denials. So going into the second game of the semifinals here, we're going to talk about a little bit about who's playing and who they're playing for. Drybear, why don't you introduce the teams?
Oh my god. So we're going to be hopping in here. Xen of Onslaught is going to be on the right side of your screen as I pull up the names here, so you go ahead and keep track of that. We have Denial eSports on the bottom side of the screen. The blue team, Mugiwawa up on Athena. Seems like he's been playing playing Athena all day long. Sprayarn up on Odin, going to be taking that solo lane up in the left lane. He had to play Vomana last time, but this time he gets Odin, the champion of the side lane. Cuvo Fred going to be playing that Thor. Looks to be playing that jungle role yet again. Restarian up on the Aphrodite in the middle lane, as he always does, and then Game Hunter on Neath over there in the right lane. Now opposite side of the map, you're going to see Xen of Onslaught, the red team, Guest Steward up on Ra taking that middle lane role, Zyget up on Hoon Bots taking the jungle route. We're going to have Goshi on Apollo in the left lane, and of course right behind Ra is going to be Odderish on that Guan Yu, and then Bart YOLO is going to be playing Bacchus.
I have not seen Odderish in a long time. I mean, in ranked, in normal games, I used to see him all the time. It's good to see him back. I mean, I love to see a lot of these older veteran players coming back here. Going towards the mid part of the jungle here, it looks like they are going to grab the mid camp to stop maybe the jungler rotations from being as strong. Hand of the Gods used immediately. I don't know if I love the Hand of the Gods used after the overhand smash. A little bit of a lack of communication there. They're going to move back towards the red buff and pick that up for their team. It looks like both sides have picked up the camps as well. So both teams going to be picking up the red buff. But it looks like Denial is just a little bit quicker as the red buff is already down and they're going towards cooldown.
Yeah, they're definitely very efficient with their rotations, and it seems like Cubo Fred is just so comfortable in the jungle. His farm rotations are perfect. He's just engaging everything properly. CDR buff is on the ground. They go to the Athena. It looks like they're going to be soloing the right lane, or are they going to be roaming is the question. Looks like they have Aphrodite in the middle lane. Neath's going to be farming the right lane. So they have a double roam coming out from Athena and Thor, and that is something you really don't want to deal with the taunt, the double stun, the Berserker Barrage, the Mjolnir's attunement, the damage output, and the mobility they have with the double ultimate. It's just so hard to deal with this kind of roam.
So middle lane, Aphrodite is going to be going up against Ra. We're going to have amazing push potential against her early game as the game starts to go on longer and longer. Those birds are going to clear things very quickly, and of course she has the innate ability to be able to push them out of the Ra heal, as that get back is going to push them very, very far and in any direction that she wishes, depending on where she's standing. So it's a pretty decent lane for Aphrodite, but she's going to need to be level 4 to level 6 to really start gaining it in her advantage. But she already does have a very tiny lead in experience, maybe 2, possibly 3 creeps overall. You see Restarian hitting level 3 significantly earlier than Ra did, so she's going to have the advantage moving towards the mid game.
I like this play here by Neath. It's something that we see from a lot of top-tier players, but something that may be a little subtle if you don't notice it right away. Neath went ahead and went over into the jungle here and just did a backflip towards this area. This is a free ward. Now, this ward doesn't last very long. I believe it's 2 minutes for the Broken Weaves, but it is something that gives him a free ward. He doesn't have to go home, doesn't have to buy that ward, and has that vision available to him. Oh, that's right, no vision.
They're not wards anymore.
That's right.
I lost the vision this patch, so there is a slight nerf. I don't know why she did that.
Now, that's something that if they do come for a gank from the jungle, they could use the Broken Weave to interact with, obviously right off the bat, so you could be able to engage on that, use the Spirit Arrow to root everyone in the area around you. But without that vision from that ward, or from the Broken Weave, there's something that you can use for that, and the backflip is kind of a little bit wasted here.
I mean, I don't think he's hurting too much considering the fact that he has Death Toll. He's earning that mana back fairly quickly using the Spirit Arrow Unravel combo. Ooh, tongue twister, that's fun. To clear that wave very quickly, pushing it back towards underneath the tower, just stripping some of that gold. But Guan Yu has a pretty decent way to push there. You see them using that Tallow Assault Tickle attack to push them back and then dashing right through. But since he's so early into the game, he doesn't actually have the potential to really kill them very quickly. So the tower is going to start completely stripping that gold from him. So you take a look at the gold right now. Neath sitting 24, almost 2,500. Guan Yu only sitting 22.
Odin getting jumped on here in the left-hand lane, but Thor is up in the air, ready to dunk down. The Athena is here as well. The dunk on 3 players, the Neath ultimate, then the taunt right after the shield wall. Apollo just barely gets up in the air, but then the Thor links on over. Looks like he's going to get a double kill in the left lane. They should have been more aware of their situation. They came for a 3-man gank on Odin, which is a stretch to begin with. Odin is so tanky with the CC immunity from his ultimate, the jump as well. It's so hard to take down an Odin, but right off the bat, they group up on him physically in proximity. And Thor gets a triple dunk, the taunt, the damage output, and they turn this possible engagement, possible gank on an Odin into a double kill for Denial eSports. And this is one of the reasons why it's so hard to deal with them, is because they're always ready to respond.
You know, Denial's an amazing team. We know this. This is a fact at this point. It's no longer opinion. The problem here is that if you're going to have a double kill and you're gonna lose 2 people in the process to one of the strongest teams in the world, you never wanted to say Cubo Fred has earned himself a double kill. Because when you start giving Cubo Fred money as a jungler who likes to do nothing but gank and roam around, I mean, the biggest goal right now when you fight Denial is to try to stop him. Actually, the Odin ult, the Athena ult rains down as well, doing a lot of damage. They might be in trouble here. Monkey's going to have to jump out. The shield wall is down. He's body blocked inside of it. Bartolo does not have the belly flop available to him for a few more seconds. A great mesmerize, but a mist so beautiful is going to stop that fight completely. He's going to run into Aphrodite. They're going to be able to turn around here and possibly fight this raw. You see the kiss getting caught. The get back on top. The get back could not have been used because of the link, but she does gain the birds. Going back to mid lane with an advantage. Odin going back to the lane is going to put her against the Athena here, using Hand of the higher engagement. So despite the fact that Denial was behind in that fight, turned it out to be an even exchange, wound up earning more gold and more money in the process, just by the way that they've been farming. And of course, right lane still getting whittled down little by little.
They play it so well. We saw Thor kind of get close to the enemy team right at the end of the Athena ultimate, dunking down. Humbot's responding with his ultimate, and you gotta love the patience that Denial eSports exudes here. They had opportunity to get a kill, but they didn't really want to risk it. They kind of just backed off there, just disengaged. We even saw Aphrodite come over and heal up the Odin and then head back to the middle lane. So a lot of good engagements there for Denial, and it's just so hard to just stop them, because no matter what, they're always going to be ready to respond. They're always in position. They always have good team play. So you never really get a chance to just punish them for things, because they're always, in great positioning. We see Apollo at the point now where he can't really do too much. Here comes the engagement, trying to burn him down before his ultimate comes off, but there is the chariot coming in, saving Apollo from that honor combat coming out from Odin inside the ring. A Spear's going to go ahead and disengage and head on home and back off. But again, at this point in the game, this early on, we see a 6-minute mark. It's still a win to force the enemy player out of the lane, even if you don't get a kill, because now Odin can push this tower down, get a lot of damage into it. On top of the damage he's already done, this tower's down to about 1/4 of an HP, and Apollo's going to be late back to lane.
I mean, he just used the moves. He's trying to get there as fast as possible, using everything in his potential to get there. But Odin has a lot of damage available to him, and I think, 4 or 5 archers ready to go. This is a dead tower. He could, at this point, just tank it if he needs to. And it does go down to a free 1,000 gold for Denial's going to put them up now the 3,300 mark as they push towards this 6.5 minutes. They could actually get an early goal fury here if they play this right.
They might be able to, and especially if there's no wards, which there are no wards up for either team on the Gold Fury side of the map. But of course, that's going to change soon. We see 3 wards available for Xen of Onslaught, 2 on the Hoonbots and 1 on the Apollo, and then of course 1 on the enemy team up on that Neath, who is on the opposite side of the map. Hoonbots coming from the backside of the Neath here, looking for an opportunity to gank. Neath's going to go ahead and throw out the Spirit Arrow. Guan Yu doesn't have a whole lot of HP to contribute here. He uses the last of his mana to heal up the wave to push it up. So Guan Yu can't really contribute too much here. Does have the blue buff, but decides to just go home. Looks like Hoonbots wants to defend this up. And then in the meantime, in the middle lane, towards the jungle, we see Bacchus getting picked off. Thor goes up in there, dunks on top of the Raw. To turn have to come out soon. There's a Neath ultimate as well. They have so much great positioning here. Neath lands the ultimate on top of the Raw. Berserker Barrage will finish him off there, and that is why Neath is so powerful. While she's fighting Hoonbots, she just shoots a casual ultimate across the map and contributes in a kill. Hoonbots uses ultimate on top of the Neath. Neath gets pretty low here, but again, the 3-level difference between the characters as Neath kind of pokes the Hoonbots back to tower. Left lane, Apollo's getting dived on here. 4 players. Berserker Barrage. Actually, the owners of the team actually. I'm sorry, the Gunners might well be able to finish off the Apollo there. 5-0 now for Denial eSports. A huge 5,000 gold difference between these teams. About 1,000 gold for every kill they have. Now closing in on the 8-minute mark.
You know, this is why Denial are champions. I mean, this is why week after week we see them taking these tournament wins. It's because their teamwork is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you're Neath focusing one of the hardest characters to fight early game in this entire game right now. And then Hoonbots has so many different abilities and ways to stop damage and force you into bad situations. And in the middle of it, she goes, I'm just going to use my ult on somebody else and then focus back to you because I have enough sustain at this point where I know that you can't kill me. And it's that kind of confidence and that kind of matchup knowledge that allows players like Game Hunter to just do whatever they want throughout the game and succeed. I'm sitting right now, he's 0-0-2, using that ultimate to his advantage, pushing this tower, whittling it down, again, sitting a little bit above half right now. He's absolutely dominating his lane as he sits 4,700 compared to a Guan who's 3,700, and he hasn't even really gotten himself a kill at this point.
Engagement in the lane, we see Aphrodite and Athena grouping up. Athena ulted in on the Aphrodite Saber from the 3-man gank, but again we see the Hoonbots, Bacchus double roam, coming in to gank a lane and not able to get anything from it, and this is becoming a huge issue for Xen of Onslaught because those two players are falling behind. Bacchus is level 6 at this point, 2 levels behind the enemy Athena, and of course the Hoonbots is level 8, who is 2 levels behind the enemy Thor, and they're falling more and more behind. Now the difference is, you can see up on Denial eSports, every time the double roam for Denial eSports goes to the lane, they most often will get a kill out of it. You see 4 out of the 5 kills for Denial eSports going to Thor, played by Cuber Fred, of course, who just DC'd. Actually, spray on Cuber Fred just got disconnected out of the game. So, and Xen of Onslaught has a little bit of breathing room to go ahead and farm back up.
I'm getting a message from the admin. Fred has DC'd, as you've just reported. Nothing is changing. Just letting you know. So this game will continue as suggested. So we're not going to see a remake or anything of the like. 5-0 right now. Denial's going to have a 3v5 situation ahead of them. I can tell you, it's not something you can't overcome.
So yeah, exactly. 5,000 gold difference between these two teams, and of course you are up against the incredible Denial eSports EU, so they need to take every advantage they can get. You see Apollo split pushing this left lane, which is just Athena going to get that tower. That's going to close that gap by about 2,000 gold, so 3,000 gold difference between the two teams. Athena trying to fight off against the Apollo as best he can. Hoonbots comes back to it. This might be a free kill for them. Athena's going to dash away. Bacchus takes the wrong route, except the Athena runs directly into the Hoonbots and gets dunked in by the Apollo, so the death will come out. Either way, they got a kill in the middle lane as well. Looks like Ra got a solo kill up on the Aphrodite, so 2 kills right off the bat and 2 towers makes this game about just under 2,000 gold. Actually, just over, just under 2,000 gold between these two teams here at the 10.5-minute mark. So it was about a 6,000 gold difference. 2 DCs. As Xen of Onslaught decides to take those towers, so now they're back into this.
I mean, they're more than back into it. They're really pushing it forward. I mean, like, you know, we've reported on this stuff in the past. It's a shame when things like this happen. If you DC, if you're not able to connect to the internet, if your client crashes. But that doesn't mean your opponent should show you any mercy. And in this case, I love what they're doing. They're like, you know what? They're down. This is our opportunity to take it back. Take those towers. We're taking Gold Fury. We're going to rush this down and try to pick this back up before they have a chance to respawn. And I respect that. This is the trip to the finals, and they're playing for money. The difference between third place and second place, you know, even if they forfeit the next 2 games, if they're able to win this, EXO is going to make a significantly bigger chunk of money. So I respect this. Go for it.
So now tied up here exactly even on gold, even though Denial has a 3-kill advantage at this point in the game. Thor is one of the characters that disconnected, unfortunately enough. A very, very farmed character up until this point. Of course, it is Denial eSports, so if they get back into this. And this is something we saw 2 matches ago. We saw Denial. We had Sprayer playing Vamana DC for about 4 to 5 minutes or so, and they 4-manned it. They 4-manned, actually got a 4-man 4-0 exchange over the right lane last time this did happen. So but Denial is most certainly not out of this. Even with 3 players, they are a complete threat to the enemy team. Apollo's going to dash in here. Looks like Neath is actually going to get a solo kill on the Guan Yu, possibly. There's the Unravel, and Rebel finish him off, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. 2 players down. Neath solos Guan Yu in the right lane, backflips away from the belly flop. The Belch of the Gods is not going to land, and Game Hunter casually kills the enemy tower, casually kills the Guan Yu, and backs away, flawlessly avoiding all CC. Restarian rotates over to defend this tower here. There is the Spirit Arrow, and the Rabble going to come out if they want to poke it out. Apollo taking a lot of poke damage here. 4 players against 2 here up at the tower. They might want to go in on this Hoon bots here. There's the ultimate as well, forcing them up away, but the Aphrodite ultimate will be away in time. The Raw ultimate comes out and does not hit anyone there, just trying to get off the Neath. They didn't expect the CC immediate from the Aphrodite ultimate. Taking a lot of damage is the Apollo, forced back away. Overhand smash comes out. Neath just doing so much damage here. They can't handle the basic attacks coming out from Game Hunter.
I mean, they're playing this really, really well. Apollo had to back out. The ultimate used by Aphrodite was gorgeous. Absolutely shunning that Hunbot's ultimate just completely. I mean, there was nothing they could do about it. A meditation there used by Restarian to give a little bit more mana to Neath as well. So only a level 1 med, but still a pretty big chunk. As you see Apollo once again caught out of position. He's going to try to ult before he get out. The birds are on. There's nowhere for him to go. He's going to get picked off. This has been a 2v4 for a long time. Game Hunter's going to backflip, try to land the Athena down, but it was a little bit too late. The communication just wasn't there. As they dive into mid lane, the shield wall into Taunt's going to do a pretty big chunk of damage. He actually escapes the second hit, luckily enough for him. Now Baka's trying to turn this back around. I don't know that Ra's going to have his ultimate available in the next few seconds. He did use it pretty early, but I don't know that it's going to be ready for him. He's getting dived under mid lane, hiding behind those towers. The Unravel's going to be enough to pick it off as the Monkey jumps back in with an overhand smash, doing a lot of damage, but not enough to secure kills there. So they actually pick up, despite being 3v5 right now, they pick up 2 kills in that process, and they're somewhat keeping their lead still ahead by about 2,000 gold. Very impressive.
Now engaging in on this Monkey. There goes the taunt. Shield wall is out. Neath doing a lot of damage here. Neath might actually get picked off. She actually gets healed by the Aphrodite and survives. Hoonbots has to go into tower range, pops his ultimate. Neath is sitting at tower range. Apollo jumps in from the backside trying to get the kill on the Neath. It is so important for them to do so. And there goes the so beautiful killing off the Neath out. An important pickup for Xen of Onslaught. This is still a 3v5. Hoonbots almost died there, but I think Denial is realizing that they can't get too greedy when they're 2 players behind. They had a 3v5 there. They were getting a lot of kills, that they're working perfectly together, but Xen of Onslaught is not really, they're privy to their situation. They want to get a 5-3 engagement right off the bat, and they played that really, really well. They're Apollo jumping in from the backside, killing off the Neath, but again, they got caught up with the Gold Fury, with the double towers, with the double kills. You see 2 towers dead for Denial eSports, the middle and the left lane, and they got the Gold Fury in favor of Xen of Onslaught, but even after all is said and done, Denial eSports is still holding a steady 1,000 gold lead.
You know, I personally have been in this position in tournament, and I can tell you these teams, this Denial team isn't thinking to themselves, oh my god, I can't believe we're in this situation, like I'm so angry, I'm so upset. They're thinking, how can we make our 3 players stop these 5 players? How can we form up and really ensure that we can pick them off one at a time and obtain objectives? And they're having a little bit of a hard time because the right lane, I mean, with this current jungler meta and this smaller map, I mean, when I did it was a much larger map, it was much harder to rotate from side to side. But Aphrodite in the middle lane using everything in her ability to stop herself from getting pushed down there. Neath as well trying to push out this Hunbots. The ult should be coming out pretty soon. With 1 hit remains, he's going to get dashed on, and Moogie's going to pick up another kill. He's going to drive down towards the middle side of this lane. 3 versus 4. This is definitely in Denial's favor, given the level advantage. 2 15s available to them at this point. Only a level 9 Bacchus. A great shot there, and a taunt into the shield wall. Moogie's going to grab himself another kill, and a great stun there. Ensure the root's going down. There's no mana. 3-for-0 exchange right now on a 3v5 engagement. They're going to be able to push this tower down with little effort. If they attempt to stop this, there might be even another kill. Apollo does not have any mana available to him. He gets done. Another shield wall. He's going to be taunted. He's going to use a little bit of CC reduction there. It's going to be too late, but they're going to dive him completely. Again, there is no mana available to him. Guan Yu's trying to stop this, but the back off is going to pick them up. 4-for-0 in a 3v5 exchange. This Denial team obviously is not giving up.
They are so good together. As you can see them just going back and forth like the wheels of a machine. Guan Yu Papa's ultimate here. They want to get something from this. They realize they're out of position. Their cooldowns are not up just yet. Meditation actually comes out. Neath doesn't have his ultimate. Thor has his ultimate. Looks like Odin isn't responding his. But 3 ultimates are down for Denial eSports. This 3-man core group that just, I mean, it seems like they have everything they need. Aphrodite is doing a little bit of damage, a little bit of assistance, the healing plus the ultimate. ultimate. Neath doing very heavy raw damage. Athena doing a little bit of damage, but mainly there for the CC and interruptions. It seems like they have, you know, the three players working together perfectly to provide a good three-man core group here, and it's working. I mean, they're engaging properly, and it looks like Xen of Onslaught, either, you know, it's the nerves that's getting to them, or, you know, it's the difference in experience in tournament play, or the fact that they're being casted, you know, they're on screen or whatnot. But it seems like they're being a little bit too passive for their current situation and letting Denial eSports have a little bit too much wiggle room.
You know, in the past few weeks, we have heard, you know, from a lot of people, a lot of outcry from the community. Why is Denial's first seed? You know, there are other teams as strong, if not stronger, that are winning tournaments. This is specifically why Denial is first seed, because no matter the situation, they always find a way to pull through. And I mean, this is a prime, gleaming example of this. 3v5, especially with their team comp. I mean, they have a carry, they have a healer, and they have a support. And that's their team right now. And don't forget, this was not the solo lane support or solo lane tank. This was the roaming one, the lowest level. Mugi immediately picking up another kill right now. His Athena is sitting 3-1-6. This 3v5 has made him nothing but stronger. Using the ultimate there to stop the intoxication as they rush down this Apollo. Neath coming around the backside. Apollo has nowhere to go. He needs to be able to get out of there as soon as possible, or he will be picked off. A lot of damage coming through. And no, he's not going to be able to get out of there. Game Hunter picking up another kill, and Rastarian grabbing one as well with the extra birds. 3 people down. Guan Yu rotating over the right side. The Neath ultimate was used to stop Bacchus. He aims them back a little bit to use the belly flop to get towards the tower. But once again, shield wall into Taunt's going to bring him for the double pop and ensure that he gets 4. A surrender vote has gone down on the team with 5 people versus the team with 3 people. I don't know if it's going to through. This could be maybe one of those salty surrender votes, but immediately Autorush is going to take a lot of damage, heal some of it back up, but this is going to be another tower down for Denial. 16-3 right now. My mind is blown.
This is something that we mention every week, that we mentioned when this game started, that we mentioned when Denial first came in, and we were watching the preliminaries. It's just, how do you stop Denial? I mean, they're playing so flawlessly. They're everything they land there. We saw Neath hit all, I mean, they had a 3-man engagement over the left lane. Neath hit all 3 players with the Spirit Arrow, and then all 3 players with the Unravel. The AoE split is so perfect, the farming is perfect, the transitions are perfect, the rotations are perfect, the itemization is so strong, and it just comes out of the fact that how do you stop a team that's just playing Smite? They're not doing anything weird, they're not doing anything different, they're just playing perfectly, they're landing their skill shots, they're positioning everything well, they're protecting their carries, they have a good front line with Athena. Aphrodite is landing all the ultimates really, really well, utilizing those cooldowns, they have good healing. I mean, it's just, what does, you know, Xen of Onslaught do here? They just need to be more aggressive, and they needed to do it 10 minutes ago. Once the DCs happened, they needed to be aggressive with their positioning. They needed to get in there and fight and fight and fight, but it seems like they're just a little bit too passive. I don't know if they're, you know, nervous or a little bit afraid of Denial, but Denial just has a lot of wiggle room here, 16-3, and Xen of Onslaught is just pressing everything hard, and they're in a tough spot to be able to come back into this game.
I mean, 16-3, we're going towards 20 minutes. The Gold Fury's down. The only real objective for them at this point is either towers or the Fire Giant. I don't think they're going to be brazen enough to try to push those Phoenixes down just yet, but they do need to start making moves. Once Rastarian hits level 20, it's all downhill, because, I mean, once they hit that max amount, there's nothing for them to gain by farming anymore. I mean, the extra gold's really not going to help so much, so they need to start pushing and pushing and pushing. Now, Apollo kind of in a bad situation here. I don't think anyone really has the necessary speed to be able to catch up to him at this point, so he's going to save his ultimate smartly, using it maybe possibly to get back to the base as a very intimidating Game Hunter pushes back 4 people in mid lane.
Now, this is something that you'll see in games since the game goes on. If you have a 4v5, or even in this case a 3v5, which is even more intensely so, is the fact that regardless of what happens, you have to end the game, because even though you're ahead now in gold, even though you're ahead now in experience, eventually, if you don't end the game, the enemy team will continue to get gold, will continue to experience, and get caught up once you hit that cap point where you have all your items, you have all your, you know, you have all the experience, you're level 20 and all that, whereas the enemy team will eventually catch up and be on par with you, which at that point it'll be a 3v5. They'll have the numbers, they'll have it equal footing. So I mean, Denial eSports has to be, you know, have a sense of urgency here and start hustling, because as this game goes later and later, and you know, if this drags out for another 15-20 minutes, Xen of Onslaught will eventually catch up. So this Spirit Arrow on top of the Raw, there's the taunt, and a huge crit from Game Hunter will completely destroy Raw in the middle lane. Denial eSports still has great control of this game. Apollo's going to go ahead and push this left-hand tower. Of course, he doesn't have his ultimate available. He's just not going to risk anything. He's going to jump up into the air and fly away. Athena trying to intercept him there as she runs after him, flying across his chariot. But again, you know, with 2 players down, they still have an opportunity to lose this game.
You know, I also want to point out that if they do manage to come back here, Thor still has more gold than 3 people on Xen of Onslaught. I mean, he's still very much dangerous. And when he comes back, he's guaranteed to finish that Jotun's Wrath. Of course, maybe pick up an Aegis. He can still do a lot of damage. I mean, damage aside, he still has 2 stuns available to him. If Thor comes back at any point, I mean, that'll really turn the tide significantly into Denial's favor. Given the fact that they have the level advantage right now and the gold advantage, you do have to consider the fact that a lot of that gold currently is not effective, as 15,300 of that is completely lost to the ether with these DC players.
It certainly is. A bit misconstrued there up on the top. Apollo has no ultimate. Neath ultimate finish him off right away. Apollo getting way too greedy in his position over there in the right lane. And we see Athena and Aphrodite capitalize on that perfectly. The Neath ultimate just guarantees the engagement. Of course, the Neath ultimate fully charged was enough to just finish him off at the HP he had. Engaging here on the Guan Yu. There goes the Guan Yu ultimate in response, but actually splits it up, only hitting the Athena there. Aphrodite able to avoid the CC by splitting away in the positioning. Hoonbot's pushing the middle lane, able to push that tower. Clear out that way, but actually going to take some minions with him when he heads into the jungle. The Gold Fury is down right now, not able to be picked up by either team, but the Fire Giant is up, and I think with a strong enough engagement, now this is not a 5v5, so 1 pick is not going to be enough for Denial to safely take the Fire Giant, but if they get 2 or 3, or possibly even 4, which they have been doing repeatedly, they will easily be able to secure the Fire Giant with without much fear of it being countered there.
All right, so 23 minutes now, 18-3. Denial has completely led the push onto this game. Now they're getting a little bit greedy here, diving forward, but this is a good opportunity as Neath is pushing down this tower and the health is draining very, very quickly. He must be swinging on the thing for 75 to 80 at this point. I mean, sitting level 20. Look at that build. The Executioner's done. At this point, Deathbringer is done as well. Very, very scary Neath right now. If she starts getting those swings off, I mean, she can really burst some people down very quickly. No one on the enemy team really has anything to really push forth. 9,100 onto Apollo, still sitting about 2,800 gold behind Neath, who also is able to have enough gold to buy level 1's Chin's Blade to give her another 10 physical power, as well as a little bit more tankiness with 50 extra health.
So at this point in the game, we're at 24 minutes. Sprayon and Cubo Fred on Thor and Odin have not yet returned to the game. So this is still a 3v5 for Denial eSports versus Xen of Onslaught, but playing so well together in a 3-man group. Neath is actually split pushing the left lane. We see Athena picking up a teleport, so they really, I mean, it might even behoove them to have teleports on them. Now, obviously, they don't want to skip too much gold and fall behind there, and they need to be up ahead as much as they possibly can and hold on to their momentum, but teleports will be able to allow them to move around the map. They're starting the Gold Fury right now, but 3 players for Xen of Onslaught are in position. Of course, Apollo is there. Guan Yu most likely will not be able to get there in time unless he doesn't have a teleport. So he is getting too far away for this engagement. So this will be a 4v3. The Gold Fury dropping quite low. Do they have a Hand of Gods? Guan Yu is the one who has the tier 3 Hand of the Gods, and he's across the map. A huge misplay for Xen of Onslaught here. They're just going to disengage on the Gold Fury. There goes the Spirit Arrow on top of Xen of Onslaught. Hoonbot's ultimate making them split away. 3 split, forcing them in opposite direction. Overhand smash comes out. There goes the Unravel as well. Some base attacks coming out. Guan Yu just now joined the fight. Use a teleport to get there in range. Guan Yu popping his ultimate on Neath. This is an excellent target to start on. Ra ultimate comes out but does not hit the Neath. The Ra's dropping quite low here. Ra will be finished off by Game Hunter. Dashing in is Apollo. There's a belly flop from the Bacchus. Spirit Arrow will drop him low. A few hits will be able to take him off. A huge crit, and the Shield Wall will finish Bacchus. 2-0 exchange for Denial. 3v5 there as Guan Yu joined in late. They're going to disengage on the Gold Fury. Just go for the middle tower. There goes the taunt on Apollo, forcing him back towards the middle Phoenix. Game Hunter taking a little bit damage from the tower, but of course the Aphrodite will be able to heal him back up unless the leash breaks there. They're going to go ahead and put some damage into this tower. Looks like 3 players are still alive for Xen of Onslaught, but again, Denial just looking so strong, even with 2 players down.
But like you said, I mean, it's going to start catching up. 2 members are now hitting level 20, which means they don't get experience anymore. So their farm isn't worth as much in terms of gain as Xen of Onslaught's farm. Only 1 person needs to be farmed up at this point, already level 19. But they're doing a good job of taking objectives, which is actually leveling up the people who are at DC. So if they do come back, they'll have a little bit more to do there. I don't know how Apollo got out. 2 members ready to block for him on that Neath ult. 1 more tick of birds would have finished him up, but it ended a little prematurely and ensured that he was able to get out there safely. Now they're going to try to poke from 3 different sides here to get this Phoenix down, already sitting at about 2/3. They're rushing. Guan Yu is like a big deal here. I mean, he's the one on the team that really needs to go down. Monkey doing a lot of damage, I'm sorry, a lot of CC there, but taking a lot of damage in the process, and already the Aphrodite ult was ready to go. You see him completely negating that Hunbot's ult once again as they push back up, and using those birds is going to get get Mugi back up to full, or at least close to it, as Game Hunter uses Unravel to push himself back up. The Phoenix looks like it is going to go down, so this 3v5 is somehow paying off for them.
I love the itemization choice here by Raw. One of the reasons they're able to do what they're doing is because of the Unravel from Neith, and more importantly, the heal coming out from Aphrodite. So you see Raw picking up a Divine Ruin, and I'm surprised it took him this long to pick it up, especially in a 3-man group like this. They are relying so heavily on the healing from these 3 players here, the Neith healing herself, and of course Aphrodite healing everyone, doing so much extra healing, keeping them alive for long engagements. If they get that Divine Ruin and even a Brawler's Beat stick up, they will be able to be in a good situation for these team fights. They just need to be able to shut that down. So I love, the presence of mind from Guest Stored here on Raw, able to pick up the Divine Ruin, get the healing down, make sure that they come back into this match and be able to win these team fights without having to worry about them healing back up. So we can see Neith actually kind of wandering over here in the jungle, does have the movement speed buff with the attack speed, might be able to pick up something here. 2v1 engagement, Unravel comes out, so beautiful, misses. Humbas jumps in. Does he have an ultimate available? He does have an ultimate available, decides not to use it. The Athena's what comes out just in case, doesn't really want to lose Neith at this point. Looks like they're grouping up towards the Gold Fury. Neith and Athena getting kind of greedy here, chasing down this Hunbots without realizing that they have 3 enemy players to the right of them. Athena jumps in on the Apollo. There goes the taunt. There goes the shield. Drop to half HP. The back off comes down. Apollo ultimate goes up. A crit from Game Hunter will stop him in his tracks. There is a kill right off the bat. Xen of Onslaught is now 4v3, dashing in, catching off the Raw. So much damage coming down the Raw. There is the taunt. That's enough to finish off the Raw. Another huge crit will kill the Raw. 2-for-0 exchange for Denali Esports. 3v5, now a 3v3, jumping in on Bacchus. There goes the birds coming out as well as the back off. Is it going to be enough damage is the question. Belly flop is not available. The taunt comes out, a few hits, and Bacchus dies as well. Denial takes a 3-man push all the way to the base, killing 3 players with 2 missing on their own team.
I mean, this is really impressive. 23-3. These guys have not died since these DCs have happened. I mean, this is unreal. I mean, I don't know how they're pushing this off for so much. We're actually approaching the 30-minute mark, and I'd say most of the game they've been doing this. Level 11 Cubo Fred, level 11 Sprayer. The surrender vote has started. You see the ultimate coming out from Guan Yu, actually not able to land all of the hits. He's getting blocked out by the firemen as the Minotaur's health starts to whittle down, sitting at about 60%, even lower, as you see Game Hunter just blaring into this with little issue whatsoever. And now it's on the tanks. I mean, there's no problem. The shield wall is going to be able to double pop there. The ultimate's going to be used by Hunbots. I don't think they need to react to this too much. Mugi's actually getting pretty low, using his ultimate there onto the Neith to ensure it gets down. 10%, 5%, 3v5 victory for Denial Esports going into the finals. Unreal.
What do you do to counter this team? I mean, they lose 2 players and they play perfectly together. Mugiwawa, Game Hunter, and Restarian decides that, oh, we're going to lose 2 of our teammates. We'll put the entire burden on our backs and we'll shoulder it all the way to the enemy Minotaur and kill him anyway. So this was a huge win for Denial, and this is one of the reasons, like you mentioned, Deanne, this is one of the reasons why, before today, if you were, questioning the fact that Denial Esports EU is one of the best teams in the entire world, you cannot question it anymore after this. They play so incredibly well together.
I mean, what an unbelievable game to watch. I mean, they've done so well. Game Hunter's damage is offensive to me, but not nearly as offensive as 18,600 from Afro, who also did 31,600 in healing in a half an hour.
I think if they reacted fast enough. Xen of Onslaught here. Of course, I have to remind you again, there is still a spectator bug that doesn't change the names properly. This was not Denial Esports up against Bipolar Methods. This was Denial Esports up against Xen of Onslaught, if you check the brackets. But, one thing I would have loved to see from Xen of Onslaught right once they realized that 2 players were DC would just shift their strategy. They should have gone for a Baller's Beat Stick right off the bat. They should have gone for Divine Ruin and rushed those items, because that was a key to their victory in those team fights, and they just needed to play more together. We saw 3 players on Denial Esports working as a cohesive unit. They were moving one by one. It was like the gears on a machine where they're just moving back and forth. They were playing off each other. They're leaning on each other. Everything was just right where it needed to be. The skill shots never missed. Everything was perfect. The Restarian ultimates were right on key. It was awesome play from Denial, and I would like to see Xen of Onslaught. If they're watching this, they're wondering what they could have done better to win this. Obviously, not to be discouraged. I mean, if you're facing up against literally one of the best teams in the entire world who've been playing for literally a year of SMITE, I wouldn't be too downtrodden about losing this match here. And going forward, I would just look at being able to recognize opportunities when you have them, and then focusing more on team positioning, team play, team coordination, and also itemization. That Divine Ruin, Brawler's Beat Stick right off the bat would have helped them win more team fights going forward.
Something I want to point out, guys, a lot of these players in Xen of Onslaught are newer players compared to the fact that Denial is putting in anywhere from 20 to 40 hours of game time per week, and that's not even including their scrims. I mean, these teams are very, very practiced. Xen of Onslaught, as a newer team, should have nothing but your respect for putting up a fight against three of the best players in the entire world, three sponsored players who make some part of their living by playing this game. So please limit your comments. Try not to be too disrespectful, because these guys played their hearts out, and considering who they went up against, they did very well.
So it looks like we might unfortunately have a forfeit from Denial. It doesn't look Sprayer or Cubar Fred have returned up until this point. And going into the finals, which if you check out the brackets, I can bring those up on screen for you. Actually, I just post them up in chat. If you look at the brackets, you will be able to see the fact that they're heading into the finals up against SK Gaming. Unfortunately enough, they don't have their two players, and they have not returned yet. So, of course, they lost them, what was it, about 20 minutes ago, just over that. So they've been gone for about 20 minutes. Their players have not returned up to this point, and they don't know their status, have not received any communication from them. So if this does not change soon, they may actually have to forfeit their final round.
It does look like the Demon Machine has reported Denial has to forfeit. They don't have two players. They don't know their status, but they do have 10 minutes available to them. So given the fact that it's 11:39, I suppose we can wait until about 11:50. In the meantime, why don't we answer some questions, Drybear? Like, for instance, Drybear, who is your favorite caster that you cast with on Sundays? And only on Sundays.
Well, there's the announcer in-game that calls out, like, double kills and deicides, and
I can't believe I gave that
he's
away.
a swell dude.
I should have said non-in-game.
He's a swell dude. I think he doesn't get enough credit for the service he brings to SMITE, and I really appreciate the things that he does for the SMITE community, really.
Good one. Good stuff. Good pick. I got nothing.